ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on this week's episode, we'll be talking about the movie The Monkey. But of course, before we get to any of that, I am joined today by unusual Nathaniel Gingrich.
Howdy, folks. I'm unusual Nathaniel. Usual Nathaniel is left the building. This is my unusual version. Mm-hmm. Let's see, what are some unusual things about me?
Well, has anything unusual happened to you recently?
Ooh, that's an even better question. Yes, I was walking up to my apartment the other day, and I stepped onto a plank that goes up to my stairs, because we have an outdoor set of stairs. For folks who haven't been to my apartment, there's a set of stairs that you have to
hopefully most listeners.
Well, you never know. I like to. I'm a man of the people. I like to give them an up close view of Back Row HQ. We're always open for business. You have to go up a set of wooden stairs, and I stepped onto a certain plank, and it was not safe. It was very, very springy.
Did it give out?
It eventually gave out. Yeah,
and we're fucking suing.
We're not for me, but just as a collective, we're all suing.
Well, that's not the first time a plank on that stairway has gone out, if I remember correctly. There was
it happens probably once a year
or two ago. Yeah, I was going to say that happens.
We're slowly
often.
Replacing the whole staircase. It's just a plank at a time.
It's just Theseus's staircase. Is that what it is?
It's a real ship of Theseus situation here.
Yeah. Man, I think about that ship often. I think about that ship. And I think about Best Buy 305, and I'm like, it's the same principle.
Wow, that's where you draw your metaphor,
right? Is that okay? But is that not an apt metaphor?
Is that not?
I would say that's fine.
Is that not an apt metaphor for any job? All over.
Yeah,
fair. Any company, any workplace.
Time itself.
You'd say that.
I've heard it's a flat circle.
Is it the same boat, or is it a different boat?
I don't know. My favorite meme is, and I think I sent this either in the group chat or maybe I just sent it. Maybe I sent it to one of my friends.
Noah,
but it is.
Could be Noah.
It might have been Noah. I think it might have been Noah. One of them,
I could have guessed.
And it's the meme of like two people in a bookstore, and they're like, "Hey, like I love X thing." It's like, no way, I love X thing too, but it's like the same thing, but it's different things. So like, I'm trying to think of like a different example in this.
Same, but different.
It's like they're both saying the same words, but it's like different version of that word. I don't know how to describe it. Like they're saying this.
Memes often work best as described in an audio format.
Yes, absolutely.
I've found that's why they exist, really.
Here's a stupid example, but it's like, oh, I love Leonardo, and one of it's like Leonardo da Vinci, and the other one's like the Ninja Turtle. It's like Leonardo, same thing. It's like they think they're saying the same thing, they love the same thing, but they're talking about two different things. But my favorite is, it's like, oh, I loved the ship of Theseus. It's like, oh, me too, and it's just the same picture of the ship of Theseus, but it's is it the same ship? Is it a different ship? I don't know. See, it was worth it. You had to give you a second.
You're referring to the classic thank you. Sign signified dynamic. I think it was is that Freudian originally? It's definitely Ferdinand de Saussure. But it's like the idea that if I say the word tree, all of us on the podcast have an idea of a certain tree heuristic in our mind. Yeah. That comes up when I say the word tree, but it's probably all very different. Even for the listeners at home right now, the word tree conjures up a different image than what I think of. And when I decide to try and communicate the idea of my picture of the word tree to you, I am using the word tree, but it's not a one-for-one translation to what is in my brain and what I am thinking of.
Right.
And this is the slippage that happens in all language and what makes part of the human existence beautiful. Say again.
Right. Now I was just gonna ask you. You were raised in Arizona. When did you see your first tree?
Not until I was a young man. Until by then it was nothing to me, but far too colorful.
It was like I was seeing color for the first time.
Yeah.
Before everything was so orange, it was like Mars.
It was basically, yeah, it was John Carter from Mars. That was my my childhood. It was a red planet, full of dust and ash. Might as well have been a pit.
Maybe.
You shut up, Pit.
Also joining us today is Too Real Ty. Tyler Berdalis.
Some things are too real.
That's too real, man. Too real. Anything unusual happened to you recently, Tyler? Any random people getting murdered in unusual ways in your neighborhood?
Have you seen this, man?
No, but Foley, I don't think he'll care that he told me this.
Is Foley okay?
Story. Yeah, he's cool,
Okay.
but like he saw like a car like get hit by another car, like literally right in front of him, and like rolled.
We've all had that experience at some point or the other, right?
And yeah, well, I've seen car accidents, but I don't know. Well, I've seen a lot of different shit than other people. I've seen the after effects of a lot of car accidents.
Yeah.
But anyways, not Nathaniel. I was looking at Nathaniel. But real quick, just to finish up, Ryan actually went up to the rolled vehicle and pulled like this old lady out of the car. He's like, I had to like rip the door off, and I was like, dude, you use dad strength? And he like he said he had to pry the door open and he like pulled the lady out, and I'm like, dude, you're a hero, dude.
Oh my god!
Not all heroes wear capes, man. Shout out to Foley.
Dog.
Ryan Foley.
That's what modern day superheroes look like, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
No, there is that weird moment where like, have you guys ever been like watching something and you see someone make the choice in driving, and you just go, oh, that's a bad one, and then
every time I get in the car,
yeah, like they almost get hit or something, and you do the for them. Yeah, it's been.
Or it's like a road it's a road where like like the points of the road that like you got to drive safer or avoid more, or like it's a road very well, but you can tell someone's going way too fast to know that they're about to hit like a super like sudden curve or whatever it is,
or even like the pettier version of that where you're just like, you're speeding to a red light, bro.
Yeah. Oh, whenever someone speeds past me to a red light, or like I see someone weaving out of traffic to a red light and I just pull up behind them, I get so close to them. I will get as close as I possibly can to the back of their car, just so they know that I am a little annoyed.
I will give them visual indicators that I am laughing at them. Such as a thumbs up or a clapping motion.
Well, and like
while I'm purposely like laughing out loud to myself, and I really like to make sure that they can see that. And some have also had visual reactions to my laughing and pointing and making fun of, such as middle fingers, I believe they call them,
or the birds.
Yeah, and so those are also funny because me being a middle child, I constantly look for reactions out of people.
Well, like in an ideal world, right? Like nowadays, cars are too smart. They get like the annoying beep when someone's too close to you too. So like if you can trigger that for another person, that's an ideal solution to that.
I didn't think of that effect.
That's the next level annoying, Nathaniel.
I see it all the time. Like when I'm driving in like people's mirrors, there'll be like a little yellow light that shows up to indicate
I look for that
like,
now.
The blind spot.
Yeah, 100%. I will ride that yellow light the whole way down if you're being an asshole.
That's sick. I've never thought of that. That's got to be wildly annoying.
Intentionally driving in someone's blind spot for 70 miles. Jesus.
My pettiness knows no bounds.
Fucking hilarious.
That's funny.
Listen, if you're gonna make your car intentionally annoying on purpose, I reserve the right to exploit that.
Wow, I think that we got to stop talking about this. We're unlocking too many dangerous devices for people to fuck with other people on the road. We're going to be inspiring a lot of car accidents. We got to move off topic here. Also, rounding up the squadron, of course, is Big Brother BlakeHolder.
Hey, what up? What up?
Big bro, little bro. Are they twins in this movie?
They are.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
Yeah.
To bring that to my life, I would say that's factually that's not true. I am the younger sibling. I have an older brother. But you know, it would be cool to be a big brother, though.
Yeah, my girlfriend's brother is 13, and that's like the first time I've had like kind of a little bro experience, and it's interesting. It's a dynamic I'm not used to.
As the eldest, Tyler and I will say it fucking sucks.
Yeah, I can't say I'm like all the way like, oh, that's my little bro, but like, because I see him in small doses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If I had to live with him,
Oh,
I'm
no,
sure, yeah, it'd probably.
Justin is the eldest. I'm sorry.
No, I was like, Tyler's the baby.
Yeah.
No, I'm not the baby. My sister is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Pardon.
I'm the
technically
eldest.
all four of them
I'm
are.
the only oldest out of all of us here.
You are.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there are some times where I feel like the oldest.
Yeah.
So there are inherently some things that I will kind of be able to understand, but yes, I am technically a middle child.
I also
Justin
I know
does
Justin's
give off
pain.
like.
I know Justin has elder brother pain as well too. I see it. I understand it, even though I just slandered him by saying he was the other
in his
one.
heart.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I understand you, Justin. Anyways, back to topic.
Shout out siblings.
Yeah, man.
We can give Justin a shout out, personalized shout out. Shout out Justin. Shout out Brown.
Shout out Justin for the first time in a while at the Super Bowl. I think the last time I saw him must have been your wedding, Tyler. I don't know.
His hair was much shorter.
His hair was much shorter. That was a bit of a shock coming in.
Oh,
I was like, "Who the fuck?" And then he turned around. And it's a nice long wavy.
For those who don't know, Justin's hair is like down to his shoulders now.
Yeah,
really.
He's got the Jesus flow going on.
Yeah,
he's looking good. Yeah, that was surprising, but always good to see him. Always nice to catch up too. Seems like he's doing well. So, shout out Justin.
As far as I know, he's chilling.
Cool, good to hear. Well, of course, we're not here to talk about brothers, and we're not here to talk about Justin. Thank God.
I mean, we're kind of here to talk about brothers. This movie does have brothers in it.
It does have brothers in it. But we're here to talk about the movie The Monkey. This is where I would usually kick it over to Nathaniel to tell us how the review segment works. But Nathaniel has picked a very inopportune time to run and grab water or go to the bathroom or something. He's sitting back down in his chair. I think he can hear me through his headphones. Hello, Nathaniel. Can you hear me now?
You're asking me to give a rundown on the review segment?
Yeah, I was saying how poor your timing is.
My timing is excellent, sir, because the way the review segment works here on Back Row Banter is it is split into two sections. There's the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the movie itself, who directed it, who wrote it, who's in it, all the stuff that's on the IMDb page. We'll then go around and decide if we recommend the movie. It's got to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. Then on, it's going to be spoilers. The spoilers will be logged in the show notes, so if you want to check those out for yourself, you don't have anything spoiled for you, you can definitely do that. But even if you do check out for the spoilers, make sure we come back after the spoilers to check out where we rank it up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've watched on the podcast ranked. With that being said, Adam, tell me about the movie The Monkey.
I would love to. This is a new movie. Rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 38 minutes and an IMDb rating of 6.5 out of 10. It is directed by Mr. Osgood Perkins, who was recently featured on the podcast for his movie Long Legs that came out last year.
Returning
to the Entropy list. He also has he wrote the movie as well. He's got the screenplays credit there. And of course, this is based off of a Stephen King short story, which I have not read. Nathaniel, have you read?
I have not, but I understand it is a bit different.
Yes, that is what I've heard. Do you know how? Because I heard that. I've heard like someone say it's like different from the short story or whatever, but I never got details on what that meant exactly.
I don't, but like contrasting this movie with Osgood Perkins' last film, Long Legs, I feel like there are elements of the story that you can kind of pick up that feel maybe more like you get a better understanding of maybe some of the themes that Osgood Perkins is working with consistently. So I would imagine that a lot of the story trappings are here in terms of maybe like the characters themselves, i.e. the boys growing up, their father, their mother character, that kind of thing, and then I think the monkey itself. But I would imagine that some of maybe the more campy bits are going to be an Osgood interpretation of the King story overall.
Yeah.
I don't think King doesn't typically kind of lean into the more of that campy style of stuff. If anything, he kind of leans more into the, horror of it all, plays it a little bit more serious. But
yeah, I think that was kind of more what I was kind of gathering to. He definitely took a little bit, like he went on interviews saying that he definitely wanted this to be a little bit more of a comedy, especially in comparison to like Longlegs. So he has gone on record saying that he purposely wanted to make some things on a more comedic level than kind of what obviously the book is like, and what Longlegs is like, and then really some of the, I think the order in which like some people die is a little different in the books.
Sure.
Or sorry, short story.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other like weird like little random thing too is the monkey's different. The monkey
I heard about
in the short story is Symbols, but Toy Story I guess owns like the visual rights to a monkey with symbols, so he had to settle for a monkey with drumsticks. So
yeah, I heard about that. Apparently, like the like whole idea of like the monkey with the symbols wasn't actually copyrighted until like Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
Where they like went out of their way and they were like, "Oh shit, this is like open and we can just do this."
Yeah.
And so yeah, they had to pivot off of that for that. I heard about that as well too. Yeah, I mean, I would say this movie definitely toes the line on dark comedy. Like it
absolutely
sure
does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Let me get through the rest of this IMDb summary real quick.
Of course.
Pause, Nathaniel. Go fuck yourself. Adam, continue.
Yep. As you were.
I'm just trying to steer the ship of Theseus. All right, just let me do it. Cast includes Theo James, Tatiana Maslany, Christian Convery. I don't know, odd pronunciation there. Colin O'Brien, Elijah Wood, and I think I'll probably stop there. That's like those top four are like the main cast, I want to say. The rest are more side characters / make appearances. Osgood Perkins does make an appearance as an actor in this movie, which I didn't realize until looking at this IMDb summary before we started recording. I didn't know that was Osgood Perkins when his character came on screen. That's hilarious now that I know his character. And I was looking at his acting chops, his acting experience. He's got quite a bit of it. I didn't know he was like such an actor before directing. Like I really wasn't familiar with his game.
Started as an actor before he was a director. Grew up in Hollywood as well too, obviously. And the themes that are present here, particularly in terms of like parenthood and growing up and like your parents being disappointing, are a little bit showing up in a couple different things.
Just a few. The IMDb summary of the film reads as follows. When twin brothers Bill and Hal find their father's old monkey toy in the attic, a series of gruesome deaths start. The siblings decide to throw the toy away and move on with their lives, growing apart over the years. What?
No, you didn't get that?
First of all, 2-sentence IMDb summaries, an automatic red flag and an automatic disqualification on this podcast.
Hold on, do you
can't have two.
Let me hit you with a record scratch.
Disqualification on this mother effing podcast. All right, you can't have 2 sentences in the IMDb summary. That's why it's the IMDb summary. It's why it's special. It's all one sentence. If you have more than one thought, you have several options. You have a comma, a colon, semicolon, hyphen, em dash. several options. All right, you don't do another period. Ellipses. Thank you, Nathaniel. You do not do a single period. All right, that's rule number 1 that you just broke. Also, that second sentence. What's the rest of the plot here, sir? The siblings decide to throw the toy away and move on with their lives, growing apart over the years. Is that the movie? Did they just grow old, separated? Like, what the hell are we doing? Honestly, just take out the second sentence and it functions much better. When twin brothers Bill and Hal find their father's old monkey and the toy in the attic, a series of gruesome deaths start. You could just leave it there. You didn't have to give me that second sentence. I don't know why I'm so worked up right now, but I am.
We're all a big recommend. Join us next week for Last Breath and
imagine that's just me ranting for 30 minutes about this summary, breaking it down. Anyway,
we're 1 sentence into the review, folks, but
it's all good. Don't worry. No,
30 minutes
Nathaniel.
into.
There were 2 sentences here. All right, that was my whole thing.
Well, Adam said it was disqualified. So
anyway,
like, why are we here?
Anyway, Nathaniel, yes, this is a dark comedy. Do you have any more? Do you want to unpause that thought? Do you have any more to add to that?
Oh no. I mean, I feel like stark contrast to Long Legs from last year.
Absolutely.
Obviously. And I went into this pretty blind, I will say. I think I've only seen the poster. I don't think I actually saw a commercial for this ahead of time. Produced by James Wan, obviously written originally by Stephen King in the Skeleton Crew book, which also features The Mist, I will say. And then adapted for screen by Osgood Perkins, directed by Osgood Perkins. Yeah, this movie's insane. First of all, like I went in and like, I mean, to its credit, I think it's one of a movie that establishes its tone within the first 2 minutes. So like, if you're coming out of this movie disappointed, like, you had all the signs for you. Like it was there from the beginning, so you really don't have much to complain about, in my opinion. However, and broadly, I feel like it's something that will be echoed across a couple of the Back Row members here, but this is definitely itching the scratch that Final Destination started in the early thousands. Like, it is very much a spiritual successor, I feel like, to those movies overall. Blake, maybe you want to pick that up from there.
Yeah. So I mean, my pre-spoiler thoughts were, one, I went into this movie completely blind, right? So I didn't even watch a trailer. Which I've now learned in hindsight, that the trailer actually did pretty well of hiding what this film would be, right? So I know Haley watched the trailer before we went to go see it because she just can't go into anything blind. And she's like, oh, long story short, that's not the film I thought it would be. Yeah, unfortunately, brother.
Oh, dude, my wife won't either.
Yeah.
Even like watching stuff like here at the house.
Yeah,
I'm like, have you ever seen this? She's like, no. She's like, put the trailer on. And I'm like, okay.
Now that I say that, my girlfriend probably wouldn't go into much blind either. So I'll retract that.
Yeah. So nonetheless, I heard they actually did pretty well in the trailer, similar to Long Legs and Neon, right? They seem to always promote Osgood Perkins films. Good. Nonetheless, though, so went in this blind, and honestly, I fucking love this movie. Now, it's really close to being like excellent to me, right? For what it is, excellent for what it is, right? I want to clear that up. It's kind of hard to wrap it up per se at the end. But yeah, going in blind, not really knowing what I was signing up for, and within like 15 minutes being like, oh, like this is like Final Destination, but with way more comedy to it. I'm in. You know what I mean? This hits every itch I've had in the horror community. So I'll deep dive it once we get to spoilers. But yeah, in short, this is awesome. It hit the market of horror that I would say isn't really used a lot in that dark comedy aspect. The closest thing we've had to that is like probably the Menu from like 2 years ago, but that's not as horror adjacent. That's much more dark comedy opposed to horror adjacent, where I can't really think of anything we've had that actually hits this much comedic undertones with just crazy deaths, right?
Well, I would say
I would argue. Go ahead.
Thanksgiving was
Am
the
I
other
missing
movie.
one? I have seen that. Yeah.
The Eli Roth. Like,
Yeah. I did catch that. Yeah, that's a little.
Or maybe like
guess,
Bodies.
I guess they're synonymous.
Would be the other
maybe
one.
Bodies.
Yeah,
maybe.
I guess the word I'm going to use is somewhat dotted line, right? Synonymous to dark comedy, but those are more camp to me. But this movie is also super camp, which like I didn't know, man.
The Blackening also out there.
Yes, that's
more
probably,
definitely more comedy than horror, I would say.
Yeah. That's probably the best example.
To your point, like this doesn't really have comedy undertones. To me, this is a straight up comedy horror. Like this isn't.
This
like,
movie's awesome.
This doesn't have a handful of jokes.
Yeah, it's way closer to Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead,
for sure.
than it is to like anything else. Like it's very much that like horror is slapstick without like with the limiters thrown off, right? Like it's it's so close to, it's definitely a black comedy without a doubt. Like
so it was good, man. I had a good viewing. I highly kind of hard to chat about this and not discuss spoilers, but all in all, I would certainly recommend to anybody. I think this is a very palatable horror film. I think this is one of the excellent, you're speaking to somebody and they're like, hey, I want to get into horror movies, but like I traditionally don't like them. Like this is something if you can go back in time, I would have showed Adam in like 18. Of him being like, I don't like horror movies. It's like, oh, well, watch this movie. You'll at least get a kick out of this. And that's your introduction to figure out where you want to go. So yeah, I highly recommend. And that's my 2 cents. I'll go to Adam.
Yeah. I today did not have a great day. I've been tired all day. Sat down in my office first thing in the morning at 9 a.m. and I've got a headache. I'm like, oh, great. I got the rest of the day to get through with this headache.
You crashed another drone.
Did not. I'm not even going to pause on that. Did not crash another drone. And didn't have a great day. Been tired all day. Whatever. Get home. I'm like, man, I'd love nothing more than to just like do nothing the rest of the day, play some games, relax, maybe watch a show or a movie, whatever it is. But I got to record this podcast. And I'm usually, 9 times out of 10, I'm like very excited to record this podcast. It's the thing I look forward to in a week. But every once in a while you have a bad day and it's like just not necessarily what you want to do that day. And to be honest, like before we sat down to record, I was like, man, this is like one of those days where I'm like not jazzed about having to record today. And then I was making the show notes. I was like, what movie are we reviewing? And I was like, oh, right. We're recording The Monkey. Never mind. Scratch that. I'm so excited to talk about this movie. And I did. Yeah. I really did enjoy this movie. I really liked it. And I'm very excited to talk about it. And it definitely flipped my mood around when I realized that we get to talk about this movie because I just had escaped my mind. I did see this on Friday. This is Tuesday today. So it had been a few days. But yeah, man, I maybe saw a teaser or two for this movie. So but like, obviously I didn't look into it much more than that. So I also like went into it relatively blind, just kind of like intrigued by it. And this is actually when I spotted, this might've been a trailer that I actually saw before, a horror movie that we saw last year in theaters or something that I was like, oh, like that kind of looks good. And then I remember walking out of that movie and seeing the poster for it and seeing like February 27. I was like, all right, well, I've got the movie I'm looking forward to in February. And this was, months ago. Maybe 4 or 5 months ago. And so I've been like kind of somewhat anticipating this as like a, one of the first movies of 2025 to like look forward to. And it was great, man. I had a great time, saw it with some friends and we all were laughing the whole time, having time of our lives in that theater. It was a fun time. I really enjoyed this movie. Kind of echo definitely what Blake and Nathaniel said. This definitely feels like a sampling of horror, and it's also a comedy, very approachable to like a very wide audience. I don't think there's not too many people that this could turn off, or people could be turned off by this movie because even the gore and the horror aspects that are in here it's on the lighter side of things. Even like the kills that they have, it's not like, we're dragging things out or they're super duper gruesome or anything like that. Like some of these deaths and kills or whatever, you could argue are too quick. So like, it's not one of those movies that you're like, if you're anti gore, if you don't like horror and you don't like jump scares, it's like it's really not heavy on that stuff, and it's very funny at the same time. I think there's a lot to enjoy here. I think some people, the negative reactions I've seen online, because I was honestly expecting this to be higher than the 6.5 in IMDb. Not that that's super low. I thought this would be a little bit higher and get more of like a good buzz online. I've heard the negative blowback I've heard is like, oh, this is just like such a wild follow up compared to Long Legs, and just like, dude, this is just like, don't even like, why are you worried about what this is compared to Long Legs? Like, who cares? Like, this is a fun movie in and of itself. Doesn't it's, if you were expecting horror, I'm sorry, like it's not as scary as Long Legs. Like, I don't know, that's been like the negative reactions that I have seen, is just like, oh, I was expecting a different movie and now I don't like it. It's like, all right, well, I can't help you on that one, brother. So I really enjoy this. I highly recommend. This is definitely a fun one. I like I said, I had a great time seeing with friends. Relatively packed theater. Definitely had some good laughs throughout the theater, so that helped too, of course. I am 2 thumbs up recommend. Ty?
Yeah, I'm also a recommend. You guys have obviously said plenty of good things about it, but deaths are good, comedies are good, or the comedy in this is good. Acting is great. Clearly, everyone's having a good time and want to be there. And yeah, I mean, we can go ahead and get into it. I had a blast. My theater wasn't jam packed or anything like that, but I also saw mine on a weekday. But yeah, dude, watch out for monkeys.
Right.
Watch out for girl gangs that hang out for you in the bathroom.
We're not in spoilers yet, Nathaniel.
True.
Bit of sizzle.
Before we get into spoilers, is the only thing I could think of when I saw this trailer and post originally was like, damn, this is like a monkey from COD Zombies that just like goes on a murder spree. Anyone else get that thought? No one else? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm not too versed.
Nobody else? Nah, okay, cool.
No.
Don't worry.
I do know what you mean.
No
but
one
that
else here
wasn't my
played
first
Call
thought.
of Duty Zombies? Okay,
Don't worry.
No, I did. You obviously know I did.
All right, okay.
Don't
That's why I
worry.
thought you, at least you of all people.
I played the
No, but now I can't stop picturing Nathaniel just fighting fucking like slew of girls in a bathroom.
Yeah, that was a great bit in this too. Because I guess can we get into spoilers?
Yeah. We're gonna go ahead into spoilers. If you've not seen the movie, check the description. I've left a time so you can jump to, or you'll be taken to our ranking of the movie up on our Entropy list. Spoiler time. Anyways, Nathaniel, do you have a drum set?
I played the chimes.
Why would you have a drum noise? This was the only perfect time to use it. If there were a perfect time, did you find it?
I use chimes. What the fuck, dude?
It's not a chime monkey, Nathaniel. It's the drums. All right, damn. Chime monkey. COD Zombies. That would have been that is chimes. So that would have been more appropriate.
Okay, I got you.
You mean cymbals?
Yeah. Sure.
I figured that's what he was.
You got me there. You got me there, Nathaniel. I said the wrong instrument. You happy?
Yes.
But yeah, jumping into spoilers on this thing one. Yeah, this was so cool for us to go into, and there's so many weird things that happen in this movie per se. Example that we hit on earlier of like we have our lead character go into the bathroom at elementary school, and it's like a bunch of girls in the bathroom. It's like never explained, and like as a viewer, you're watching it and you're just like, wait a minute.
Just what the
That
fuck
doesn't
is
really
happening?
make sense. yeah, right. But
Why
like,
are they in the
they
men's
never touch on it
bathroom?
again.
Why is there
So
7 of them?
yeah.
Why do they have power over him? Like,
Yeah, it's that
Looks like you got a pants problem.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that was cool to see that happen. The next thing that I really love from this film too is it kind of takes from the It Follows clip, where you don't really know what time period this movie takes place in. Or like the cars people are driving are like older cars, right? Like 70s, 80s. But there's scenes where like people like pick up an iPhone right? And somebody's calling them when they're sleeping. So you can't really get a gauge on what's going on. The house and the infrastructure looks significantly older. But then like clothing that people are wearing looks like modern clothing. So honestly, Perkins just did excellent in that, where it takes place in like a dream.
It says it gives you a time period, but it definitely is anachronistic with a lot of the stuff that plays out in it. Because it says like the beginning it's 95, then I think it says like 25 years later, right?
It reminds me of It Follows.
Very
kind
close.
Of thing.
Yeah,
where like It Follows, there's like some weird like slightly off tech things. Like it's definitely very much our world, but like not our world. Like there's some things that are like different. So yeah, definitely kind of reminded me of that, where I'm like, I can kind of tell we're in, but
there's
not
still phone booths in 2024 for some reason.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all in all, man. I'm in. The only thing I didn't really care for, to be honest, and it's hard because the film ultimately doesn't take itself that serious, so it's hard to provide like constructive criticism on it, for lack of a better term. But I don't really care how there's a lot of exposition dumping, right? And I wish we could have gone without that. Of saying like, okay, well, the monkey kills by every time we turn it, it kills somebody random, and the person who always turns it right is always safe. I didn't care for when they voice things like that. Just let that be up to the viewer, right? And that happened. There's like two segments of basically exposition dumping that I didn't really care for, and it's like, I wish we could not have that. But there's joke payoffs that are fucking awesome.
I guess like, yeah, that's a weird balance, because I almost feel like in like Long Legs, like you almost didn't get enough exposition at some points, like to like fully connect it. Not that like there wasn't, but like I guess that is just the balance that you're always having with these films overall, and I can definitely see where you're at, where you're just like, that's a little bit too spelled out for me. I felt like for myself, I almost felt like I enjoyed the fact that like it never gave the monkey full hard rules. Like there was never like they found the on the back side of the box it said X, Y, and Z, and like don't cross these rules. Which again, for some people, like when you're watching a horror movie, like I think there's a certain part of the population that likes that part in horror movies of like, here are the rules to the horror movie, and then that allows you to kind of like figure out ways to outsmart it. Like even in some ways, like an It Follows or something like that, or even like a Final Destination. There's part of it is built on that sometimes, where it's like the world is happening
rules
to you.
Of the entity.
The world is happening to you, but you can outsmart it, kind of thing. Whereas like I think this goes out of its way sometimes to just kind of be like, nah, you don't get a choice at all. Like it's just, if you choose to use this and you're going to be tempted to use this, it'll just fuck your whole day up, kind of thing. But yeah, I felt myself enjoying the tone to this overall, especially as a contrast, I feel like, to Long Legs.
They talk about like, it's awesome to see how much they commit to the bit, right? Like at first you're kind of like skeptical of like, okay, like this is actually pretty funny. But then they're like, oh, like they're going full fledged, like they're committing to this thing.
I feel like it starts
fucking dialogue, relationship building.
Definitely with the dialogue, for sure. That's definitely like, I feel, and that's somewhere where I feel like you can like push back a little bit and be like, it doesn't always land for me. But I feel like even from like the minute one where they rip that dude's intestines out to where that lady explodes jumping into the pool, they're just like, between those two, you're just like, oh no, I know what I'm in for here.
Yeah. And the lady jumping into the pool bit too, like that's the definition of just committing to the bit. It's like the middle of the night, he walks outside to take a call, and there's like an oddly attractive woman getting undressed about to jump in the pool. You know what I mean? It's like, I just don't think that would happen at a local motel.
No,
but
absolutely not.
it's funny, man. It's so good. And we didn't even get to the Elijah Wood.
Oh, he's great.
Fucking hilarious.
Random.
That was probably my favorite part of the movie.
Dude, it was so funny. What does this book say? Jesus Dad?
Something
Dad
like
Jesus or
Fatherhood
something like
the
that?
Seventh or whatever it is.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then he
I
gets
stole your
that
power.
great line.
I'm taking your power.
Well, what's gonna actually probably drive this podcast crazy is that me seeing Elijah Wood, I'm excited, but it's strictly because I love the Falcon. It has nothing to do with Lord of the Rings. So when I see Elijah Wood, it's like, oh, it reminds me of the 90s horror movie, The Faculty, which I'm sure Nathaniel and Ty know what it is. Adam probably doesn't know what it is.
I've heard of it. I maybe have just heard you guys talk about it.
I think that's probably what it is.
But yeah, that's funny too. When I think of him, that's the first thing I thought of. Then I was like, oh, well, wait a minute. Most people wouldn't know things. So
yeah. No, that was a great cameo. Because talk about just like unexpected. And I think that's it's only that scene that I think we see.
It is. Yeah, he doesn't come back. They don't pay it off with like the random death that you think you would see potentially.
Oh my god, that would have been great though. Could you imagine they just cut to him at some point?
Yeah.
And it turns out the monkey had just killed him. Yeah, that'd be funny. And they also give that great line at some point in the movie. Petey's like, "Oh, and you're gonna like leave me for the leading expert," or something like that. Like my dad would be replaced by like the leading expert. I'm like, oh, that's a fucking good line too.
Yeah.
And also, I do want to shout out Petey. Unexpectedly amazing performance for like a child actor. I don't know.
Very solid.
Like 14. It looks like 14, 15. What was his name? Something O'Brien. Colin O'Brien. I was actually like really impressed with his performance in this movie, and I think he's probably the standout performance of everybody.
Yeah, more range to the role too than you would have thought, because he kind of has to go through a phase of like, okay, like he's happy to see his father, he doesn't see him a lot. Then he has to also understand that this is probably the last time he could see his father,
right?
And they're trying to amend this butchered relationship. So yeah, there is some in-depth character analysis of that, and I feel like he did pretty good with that.
Absolutely, especially all of that mixed into like he doesn't have a particularly comedic role, but it's obviously a comedic film. So like navigating all of that while also like playing around the comedy too, that's tricky, and I think he did a really really good job. So just wanted to give him a quick shout out. He was great.
Evil in Osgood Perkins films is treated as like this like everyday entity that you can kind of like interact with overall and control in some ways. I think that's an interesting way to like kind of take a look at it. Between like Longlegs, where like the devil is kind of like portrayed as this force that will always try and just fuck with humanity, and like certain people will try and can pull that under its control and then use that out there. And then like in this movie, it's very much that like the monkey is just this embodiment of evil, and in some ways is just always present in containing of death. And then at the end, it like obviously ties into the fact where he sees the pale rider of death on the pale horse as well too. And I think it's just interesting that for Osgood Perkins, who his movies have such kind of a nihilistic view of adults, in that like they are constantly kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just trying my best, or like I am failing at doing the best part of raising you. I think it's an interesting concept to have evil and darkness as this kind of separate entity that you can interact and bargain with, but like it exists outside of just regular everyday humanity. In some ways I find that very like old school, but also in some ways very kind of refreshing in some way too. Like he seems in some ways very forgiving of humanity's failings, but also at the same time very black and white in terms of like what evil is and how it kind of sometimes is represented.
Yeah, and if you even bring that back to before Longlegs with the Black Coat's daughter,
sure,
that goes back with Emma Roberts, and I can't think. I always mispronounce it.
Oh,
she's also in Longlegs. But yes, that goes back to like 2014 to Nathaniel's point, where this evil or devil, the devil is like an entity that you can actually interact with as the characters in the film. Right. So yeah, he's had 10 years to kind of hone in on that. And this is the first I've seen him take the comedic approach with it. And it, crazy enough, it may hit the best, right?
Sure.
With the comedic approach, right? Where it's not as heavy, or the movie doesn't have to be as grounded and be incredibly self-aware, and you have to suspend disbelief and things of that nature, where this one is kind of yeah, like we're just in for a ride. You're gonna see a bunch of weird shit. You're gonna see some cool deaths, and we've got an evil monkey. So yeah, it's. I was pleasantly surprised. Like I can't stress this enough. I don't know if it's like barbarian level surprised, but it's close. I would say it's close.
Yeah. Back to your point really quick, Nathaniel, too, about the evil stuff. I thought it was interesting how like the monkey in and of itself isn't, I guess, inherently evil, because at the end of the day, someone needs to turn the key for it to like really kill anything.
Sure.
So I thought that was an interesting point.
I took it as more of like a representation of like the monkey is death. Like you don't really get to choose when or where.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like it happens.
And that was
like,
obviously a heavy theme too of like, everyone dies, you know?
Yeah, death is just going to happen. And it just gets interpreted differently. And it is very cool, kind of like how you said that, you know, it also kind of shows like human nature, like somebody has to turn that key, but you don't necessarily get to choose, you know, how or when that person dies, but you want them to, which is weird. So yeah, it's very interesting, but yeah, it's super cool that, you know, he's able to kind of portray that and, you know, bring this kind of short story to life in his own way, and yeah, clearly put a comedic spin on it, that he kind of ended up making his own little masterpiece that, you know, I think maybe not a lot of people are going to hear of now, or, you know, I think it'll be that thing in a year where people are like, hey, did you ever watch that movie? I'm like, yeah, I fucking watched that movie, dude. It's good.
Yeah.
And it'll end up with its own cult little following, and yeah, just great all around. Good themes.
Yeah, absolutely. And for things to obviously be grounded and relate to the masses, right? There has to be some truth to them, as well as the comedic undertones. So like one of the funniest bits is in the beginning of the film, probably within the first 10 minutes or so, after the babysitter dies, and then you have Lois talk to her two children, the two twins, and they're like 9 years old, and it's like, so everyone's gonna die. We're all gonna die.
Yeah,
I'm gonna die. You're gonna die, right? And it's like, oh, that's a little dark to tell a child. But like, ultimately, that is true.
Definitely.
So then like, it makes you like teeter the line of like, okay, when can you actually have those conversations, right? And then I forgot what the exact quote was. What was it? It's like, some of us will die peacefully in our sleep, and then others, and others, right? It's like absolutely horrible. But that's life, and that's how it goes.
Shout out the movie poster. It's the first movie poster I've ever seen that has the word "fuck" on it. It has the tagline "Everybody dies, and that's fucked up."
Oh, that's funny. Yeah,
I don't mean I haven't seen that necessarily printed on a poster in a theater, but that is the poster on IMDb.
Yeah,
and that will be on the poster of our thumbnail and Twitter post. So,
what was your favorite bit or joke that they committed to? Does anybody have one?
Without a doubt, the first funeral with that pastor after the babysitter's severed head. Without a doubt, dude, had me almost falling out of my chair laughing, because it goes on for like 3 or 4 minutes, way longer than you initially expected to go on for. And at some point he goes, that's a separate issue. It's separated. And she was fucking decapitated. Oh my god, bro.
The person's up there dead, and he like ends it with like, well, it is what it is.
The word of the Lord, it is what it is. Oh my god, dude, dying laughing. So funny. Because that is what I imagine some Gen Z pastors and whatever are gonna sound like somewhere, at least. So that bit had me dead, dude. I'm still thinking to myself, laughing about that bit.
Fair. Nathaniel, Ty?
The lady at the pool comes out of nowhere, blows up. Yeah. And then I also think the real estate agent as well too. I'll be remembering that as well too.
Which part? The shotgun part?
Yeah,
or just her character? Okay.
Yeah, obliterated by the shotgun.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But yeah.
I would say actually coincidentally, the two things that Nathaniel is saying said. The pool is just outrageous. It's definitely like one of those what the fuck moments, and you're just like, oh shit. And then
well, my favorite part of that bit, really quick, is when he gets back to the hotel room. He goes, "Hey, we need to get out of here." He's like, "What are you talking about? It's 4 in the morning." He's like, "We need to get out of here."
Yeah.
And then typically sometimes it is hard to make the thing that you showed in your preview interesting. And that scene with the shotgun in the closet is what's in the preview. Or at least the one and only preview I've seen for this movie. But yeah, he's just like full blown sees it and he's like, no, and then just fucking shotgun.
Yeah,
like, oh fuck.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So yeah,
and those are all great points too. And even the shotgun scene that takes me to another layer, and I guess I'll go to that in a second. So I'll hold my thought. But I want to say the bit that I found the most funny. And I'm surprised nobody brought it up. Is the bit where he's in the car with the child, right? And they get the business card of the skydiving place, and they're like, oh, and they do weddings. And then like you actually gets like the last scene where there's like the complete massacre of the world, and then like somebody falls into the roof from a plane, and she's in a bridal dress. Yeah, and like that was the funniest bit, and I was like, I totally like it didn't hit me right away. I kind of had to register for a minute.
That was definitely where I was like, "Oh, this feels like akin to The Blackening as well too."
Yeah.
This is like a joke that will pay off from then. But 100%.
I want to give an honorable mention to when the monkey just starts vigorously playing the drums because it's pissed off, and then it cuts to outside the window and it's Armageddon outside of the town. That was so good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And then to go back on my original thought with the shotgun scene with the Riddler, and it almost, I don't know if it's just for audience cue, so for us, or it almost seems like at certain points, the siblings, with somebody else turns the key and something's going to happen, it almost seems like they have a sense that they can like, or they can almost hear the ticking. Right, or the ticking of the drums, but I couldn't decipher if that's something that we can only see because we're the audience, right? Or if that's something that they can inherently, if they have some sort of like spiritual connection to it, or they're like, well, wait a minute, because he's like, she's about to open the door,
right?
And he's like thinking for a minute, and then he's like, wait a minute, like, no, don't open it, and that's happened, I think, like 2 times.
Right.
Well, it was really weird to see.
It did seem like with the babysitter, which is the first kill, that the main character's
was it Hal?
The main character's name?
Was it Hal or Bill?
Hal. Yeah.
Hal.
Okay.
Bill's the asshole.
Bill's the hassle, which is interesting when it's Bill's like the hero in it. Like, proof Stephen King just doesn't give a fuck about names. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, that's true too. But when that first kill in Benihana or whatever the hell they were at, they seem to hear the drum set, or at least Hal does. It seems like you can, as a viewer, you can hear it, and it seems like it's diegetic. Like it seems like the characters are also hearing it,
right?
Because Hal seems to hear it. He looks over at Bill, and it's not super clear if he hears it or not.
Yeah,
and then so to me cluing in like, oh, he does hear it. But then later they're like, do you guys? They had a conversation. They're like, do you think it was the monkey that killed the babysitter? Like, do we think that's what happened? And to me, it's like, all right, well, either they don't want to admit to themselves that they know that it's the monkey, or like maybe they didn't hear the song. So yeah, that wasn't entirely clear to me. I think it by the end of the movie, I was convinced, okay, yeah, they are able to hear it. Maybe not, he was in a different town and obviously couldn't hear it, but like he was close enough.
If you're in some sort of proximity, it seems like you can hear it, right? So yeah, that's a good takeaway. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I ended up thinking at the end of the movie, or by the end of the movie.
Yeah, the babysitter kill was that's when it's full-fledged. I'm like, oh, this is Final Destination.
I was so concerned that it was going to be so gory based off that. Like, I thought we were going to get her head picked up off of the thing and like get some like skin melted to the thing dealio, but Luckily, the movie was not that far into it. I think, like we said, it's a strange tone, but like it's a tone that it knows it wants to strike.
Mm.
What was the one death? Who died where he was like, he died in a camping accident?
I was going to say, that's Oscar Perkins.
Is that Oscar?
So, yeah, I was going to say that the craziest death
they
per se is the one to Oscar Perkins, in my opinion. And he's just like, gushers.
Oh my God. Yeah. What was the line that they said?
He looks like a kicked cherry pie.
Yeah. Dude, and that's one where like there's a lot of comedic tie-ins between like death immediately, then cut to a funeral.
Yeah.
Right? Or cut to like an accordion of like a funeral home.
Well, like it's such a goofy fucking thing where he's so isolated from his family because he is so afraid of the fact that it's gonna like kill people around him. And half the time you're just like, just fucking tell the kid about the monkey.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
And like that's part of it as well too, is that he's just such a dumbass as well. As his brother calls him multiple times. Yeah. But even then I love that like when we finally do get to the brother, the kid's like, no, he's fucking crazy. Like,
and also another thing that is both of the siblings are just incredibly fucking stupid, because even when you get to Bill's point, right, and he gives Hal the ultimatum of like, I'm gonna keep turning the key unless you get your son to come over here and turn the key. But like from Bill's perspective and the audience perspective and Hal's perspective of what we know of that, why would you willingly allow somebody else to turn the key? Because that makes you susceptible to death.
Just as easily going to kill Bill. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Well, I think that was part of like his insanity was like, hey, like, let's,
I don't care
I want to kill you. You wanted to kill me.
Yeah.
Like, let's let the monkey decide who dies, and your son will be safe as long as he turns the key. So that to me was like his plot was like, you know what? We both don't like each other. We both have tried to kill each other. Like, let's have the monkey decide.
I love when the kid, when he shows up later and Uncle Bill's like, hey, Petey. Like, he's just like,
yeah.
Like it's a normal interaction, like he's met him before.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was funny.
I don't know.
And then the way Bill goes is textbook, just the fucking bowling ball to the face.
Yeah. It feels destined to be a cult classic for some people. It feels destined to be forgotten by others. It definitely feels like it kind of reminds me of Devil All the Time on the News. What was that last year?
Oh, Late Night with the Devil.
That's the one.
Devil All the Time on the News.
Yeah, for a minute I was like, "What the fuck is Nathaniel talking?"
But I thought we were staying out of politics.
Really quick on that bowling ball. I mean, this is another like callback, but like one of the early shots of the movie is actually Hal holding the bowling ball over Bill's head. And like by the time that he dies, like I had kind of forgotten about it, and I realized later on.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
Another good.
No comment on the random comedic timing of like the cheerleaders. It's like Armageddon going on, and the cheerleader bus rides go by, and they're cheering, and you're like, oh, that's pretty funny. And then it happens a second time, and they all just get masked.
Yeah, that was the cheerleading was a bit odd, but like funny. But like
the first time was funny for sure.
First time was funny, and then it became like a recurring thing, and I was like, all right, I don't know if I fully get the bit here, but okay.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Nathaniel? Looks like I cut you off accident. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was following up even with the cheerleader thing. Yeah, weirdly reminded me of what is it? Jeepers Creepers 2 with the people on the bus.
Yep. Exactly. I'm right with you.
But yeah, and kind of what was that we saw for the podcast? Knock at the Cabin.
Oh, I think that was actually just me and you on a bit of sizzle, Nathaniel.
Yeah.
I don't think that's on the entry list. Yeah, it was.
Really quick though, what I did want to get to is the scene where Hal's being bullied in the boys' bathroom in elementary school by
so
a group of
surreal,
girls.
right?
Yeah, just one hilarious that he's being bullied by like 6 girls in a boys' bathroom.
It was like, yeah, we heard your brother say that you do this thing, so fuck you.
Didn't you see something about some sort of pants problem, right, or something like that?
The mom is going on dates, so that means that he can't. She wears the pants now, so he can't wear pants.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You've got a pants problem.
Yeah. Well,
and then he sends him home with no pants on. Which,
and I think
don't know how you would get on a school bus. I don't know how you would walk out in the school hallway.
I think there might be
go beyond all of that.
A deleted subplot too, with like because there's an Asian girl in the girl gang, and then later on he like meets an Asian police officer, and it feels like they have the same kind of speech pattern. And I wonder if there was like a deleted subplot where like that's the same character kind of thing.
Yeah, because it is 25 years later.
Yeah. And he's like coming back to the town, right, where he like grew up, kind of thing. So I was wondering if that was gonna come up again at some point, but it's never really brought back up again.
That's a good point. It's interesting, man. I didn't catch that. The only thing I did know of the girl gang group, right, per se, is the lead girl of that is actually Osgood Perkins' daughter.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, that's
the one who has the primary dialogue. She's also in Longlegs as the person who's like the gas station clerk, where Longlegs goes and
mommy, daddy.
Yeah, like the weird guy's at the register again. I believe I'm almost positive that's his daughter. So he always finds a cool way to fit his daughter into.
That's good.
So yeah,
all
in all, man, good film.
They cover him with like 50 bananas as well too.
Yeah. And then he just walks in, and she's like, "Hi, honey, I'm cooking." Da 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 da. He's like, "I don't fucking want any."
Yeah,
he's saying that at like 11 years old.
For some reason, they're twins, and they arrive home at different times as well too. Like, there's so many weird, like, surreal bits from when they're growing up that you're just like, I don't trust this narrator as well in some ways.
For sure. Well, are we thinking we want to rank it?
I think I got a spot.
Oh,
you're ahead of the game.
I was.
Yeah, slow your roll there, brother. Welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead and throw up the monkey hop upon our Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of all the movies we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. It's essentially how we rate our movies, rather than do it out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is. We throw up all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. If you want to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description, where it is linked to my Letterboxd. Entry. Excuse me. It's getting late here. Entry 223 on the Entropy list. At the bottom here, we have Borderlands. At the top, we have Dune Part 2. Quite a wide array of movies in between. Coming up on the 1-year anniversary of Dune Part 2. How are we celebrating, fellas?
You're sick, bro. you are sick.
I say we all meet up where we all shared that magical experience last year. We all go to Lucky Monk, and maybe they're doing like a 1-year anniversary.
Go watch an actual good movie.
Dude, it really...
they might be... No, I'm saying they might be bringing it back into theaters for the 1 year.
It genuinely was one of like the best viewing experiences I've had in a long time.
Which is the funny thing about it is everyone saying like, yes, for the podcast, I hate this movie. However, I did enjoy that movie as well too, and liked Dune 2, and as opposed to Waz, who did actually hate that movie as well too.
him and Joe Gadomski. I don't like that movie at all.
Idiots.
But yeah, no, it's strange to go back.
I'm leaving that in.
I don't care.
This being
one, they know
said,
I'm joking, and 2, they know they're idiots.
This being said,
yes,
I'm ready to rank the monkey.
Throw her up, dude.
What are you thinking, man?
So I've got a spot. Might be crazy.
I want to hear this.
It's 125.
Okay.
125 below Moana 2016, original Moana, and above The Fall Guy.
Correct.
All right.
Which in the ranking of horror movies is going to put it above Maxine, above Prey, above X, above The Menu, above Halloween 2018.
Yep.
But it's going to put it
Strangers.
Yep. But it's going to put it below Blair Witch, Quiet Place, Malignant, Barbarian, Descent, and that is really where I'm falling. I think this is better than Maxine. I don't think it's as good as Blair Witch Project, and that's basically it for me on that one. The Strangers is definitely the one like I look back on and I'm like, could go a little bit, obviously a little bit higher. Halloween 2018 obviously as well too, but I can't put this below Maxine. I can't I can't put it above Blair Witch. I definitely can't put it above Barbarian, Malignant, and The Descent. So that's where I'm at.
Nathaniel, I think you might have cracked the code. I think you hit the nail right on the head.
That's a good thought process because originally, I mean, obviously, I go to where's Legs, and Long Legs is actually
super high.
On yeah. So that's what I was like. Oh, okay. Well, I don't think I can go that high. You know what I mean? So then I started working my way down, and so I guess I'm just more surprised. Actually, that not that it's a bad film per se, but long-winded way for me to get around to. Yeah, I think I'm in the same ballpark as Nathaniel. I think Barbarian and Malignant, somewhat comparable, right, to what we're looking at in The Monkey, but I think it's I really, really like Barbarian. And Malignant for that matter. So, and The Descent's totally another tier. So The Descent's the cap on that. Working my way down. I mean, I think I know where I'm going. The Quiet Place is good. It did build a cinematic universe, though. 2 of the 3 films aren't really the greatest in the first place, but nonetheless, it did do it. I think I know where I'm going to go. I think I'm actually going to try to give this thing a little credit. So I will put it at 120. So I'm going to go below Soul, just because I saw a Soul clip on YouTube the other day, and I totally forgot how funny that movie is.
That movie's solid.
Yeah. So a little jaded, though. On paper, I would have Blair Witch significantly 22.
Significantly higher?
Yeah. On paper, I would have Blair Witch Project.
That's fair.
That's where I'm going to put
it.
Duffy above Creed 3. I can't even tell you what happened in that movie.
They fought
Jonathan Majors
in a boxing match.
Cool anime fight for the climax of the movie.
Oh, I actually forgot they did have
at
that.
the LA Coliseum.
I forgot they had the anime fight. You know what? Just for that, I'm gonna amend my ranking. I forgot they had the anime fight. That was actually really cool. So
if I go here, I can strike him.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go ahead and gobble up. So I'm gonna go 124.
120 what?
124.
Okay. Sorry, you've cut out a little bit.
Yeah, 124. Sorry about that. So we're gonna go below. We're gonna go below American.
Below American Gangster, Bub Moana. Okay.
Yeah, for respect for Denzel.
You gotta respect Denzel. Yeah, I'm in that same spot. Like I said, I think Nathaniel, you nailed it. Although I'm gonna put this 123 right below Blair Witch and above American Gangster. I just enjoyed this movie more than American Gangster. And I think I enjoy it and have more fun with it. And we'll probably go back and watch this movie more than any of the films in this area below like the 122 range. Definitely more than like Fall Guy, Moana, Maxine. Like I will 100% rewatch this movie at some point, probably multiple times. So I'm gonna go. What did I say? 123. Yeah, 123. We have a 123, a 124, and a 125. Tyler.
I'm actually gonna be probably the lowest, not because I don't enjoy this movie because it is a great movie, but yeah, when you do get into that kind of horror alley there, it gets pretty crazy. And to Blake's point, he saw a clip of Soul. I actually rewatched Soul this past weekend with the boys. We had it on like Sunday morning, so that was a good little go back. And I've watched A Quiet Place a ton of times. I have watched Prey probably 3 times. I've watched X probably 5 times. So those are definitely movies I have and will go back to again. So I really don't overly care for The Menu or Last Night in Soho. So you guys know I'm a pretty big fan of X, and I'm a big fan of Prey. So I'm gonna be just under X. 129 above The Menu.
You're
valid.
129. All of that, ladies and gents, gets us an average ranking of 125.25, which means we'll put it below 125 at 126, which means it is above Maxine, below The Fall Guy, right where Nathaniel pegged it at, but in that same range, obviously. So good spot for this movie. I think that's actually that's going to age pretty well, I think, in terms of a ranking here. All right. That's it for this review segment on this episode. Our next review segment on next week's episode, we'll be covering the movie Last Breath. That is a new movie coming to theaters this weekend, featuring Woody Harrelson and an actor by the name of Simu Lee. You may know him from the movie Shang-Chi. And this is a bit from the pre-pod that will not get put into this episode, but I just wanted to make a bit for the fellas that may not be.
Carnage and Shang-Chi at it again.
Those rapscallions at the bottom of the ocean floor. Yeah, go check out Last Breath. I'm intrigued. It's not one like I've seen like maybe one thing of promotion for it. And then I heard people talking about it because I follow Simu Lee on Instagram. I think I saw him post about promo thing. But I don't know anything about the story really. Underwater things give me anxiety. So I don't know. I like Woody Harrelson too. And I like Simu Lee. So, and I don't know who else is in it, but yeah, I'm excited. This will be interesting. But yeah, check that out if you feel so inclined. 90-minute runtime. So, not a huge investment for the theaters. But yeah, there you have it. You can check that out and join us for our review. We're running late on IRL time, episode time, also running a little long. So I'm going to move us on out of here, especially because we do have a nice little closing segment here. We have an email from our number one listener and number one emailer, Ryan Foley.
Hey-o.
His subject line was titled Basement Shit.
Okay.
He said, "Sup, bros? I'm currently pumping iron and getting jacked while listening to your latest episode. Good thing you did that, Ryan, because it paid off. Pulling off that card door.
Yeah, for
Man,
sure.
yeah, there you go. Pays off. I could not agree more with your thoughts on basements and how effing scary those things can be. I still have nightmares about basements, and I am 37 freaking years old. I have a finished basement and still let my thoughts get the best of me from time to time. When Paranormal Activity first came out long ago, we, Justin, Tyler, and a whole bunch of peeps, were so freaked out afterwards that I decided to spend the night at Tyler's dad's place. Justin lived there as well, and go home in the morning. That night, I let my imagination and the very dark basement get the best of me, firmly believing that there was a ghost down there. I could not find the light switch anywhere, so I used my phone, grabbed my shit. It was like 4 a.m., ran upstairs, grabbed leftover pizza from the kitchen that was left out, and drove the fuck home back to Marengo. God, I miss the basement. It was a great hang place and could be scary at times because Justin lived down there. just thought I would share this little basement story because basements are fun and stuff. Peace out, bros, and thanks for making great content for a nerd like me. Signed, Ryan. P.S. I never narked on nobody. I will never tell Leah about that movie, and I never will. To the grave, son. I don't remember what exactly that's referencing. I do remember there was some bit about Ryan not narking. Remember what movie he's referencing?
The quote that he is referencing is Fast and the Furious.
Right.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah,
Got
that
it.
actually went over my head.
Funny because in Paranormal Activity there is no basement because that movie is shot in San Diego. It's about a scary attic.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
Don't
a
they?
fun
Isn't there a scene where one of the characters go to the basement, or is that the second one?
That's definitely, if anything, a second or third one, but not the
Okay.
original.
Yeah.
Because San Diego, much like Arizona, has no scary basements, just scary attics.
Yeah.
I also want to do the math here really quick on how old the story is, or how old Ryan Foley is during the story, because Paranormal Activity came out in 2007, right?
Yeah.
So he was 17 years old.
No, we were a little older.
Older?
Well, 2007 is, what is that? What how long?
Well, Ty was born in 90, yeah.
2007 was 18 years, right?
Yeah, I would be an 8th grade.
When was Ryan? What year was Ryan?
Ryan's either 80. Ryan's got to be 88.
Yeah, he said he's 37, so he's
15.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he would have been
like
22.
Yeah.
Am I doing math wrong?
Maybe. Sure.
At least 20.
I think we're all wrong here, fellas. Yeah, I think it's 2019.
He's got to be 19 or 20. 19 or 20, yeah. Brian, respectfully. Is that well? I mean, let me pull the fellas. Is that too? Is he too old to be grabbing his shit out of his? 2007, yeah. Paranormal Activity, 2007. I'm not crazy.
Yes, it is. It is a 2007.
Okay, it's a 2007. Film.
So that's what is that?
Foley's born in 85.
So then I would have been 17.
He would have been.
He would have been. Yeah, he would have been 1920.
Okay.
No, that's not too old. You're never too old to be scared enough to get your shit out of the basement and go back home. What are you talking about?
I mean, it's one thing if he heard something, if something spooked him, but it just seems like he freaked himself out.
Yeah, I mean that's part of a majority of things that you do hear that are spooky. There is usually a rationale for whatever happened. Like I remember one time I was sitting in like the living room at my dad's old house and home alone, and I heard a huge like knock from the bathroom. Like fucking, I'm like, oh fuck, something's in there. I'm out. Like I gotta go. And then I, decided to grab a knife and go in there, and I went in there, and the shelf that like suction cups to the wall just came unsuction cupped, and all the soap fell out onto the ground. That was it. But that basement did have something about it.
It could be a demon.
Could be.
Could have been Justin. I don't know.
Odds are it was Justin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if anything, we're not blaming Ryan Foley in this situation. If any demons were being encouraged into that area, it would be because of Justin.
Yeah, and he said Justin lived there too. It's funny that he said that because predominantly Justin was the one that did live there. I typically always lived with my mom, and just went and stayed at my dad's every now and then.
So if anything, I think if we have to blame Ryan for running out and grabbing his stuff and leaving, it's all Justin's fault.
Yeah. It is funny too that he couldn't. I could totally see him like freaking out and like not being able to find the lights, which even though he's been there so many times,
that's so funny.
And just like freaking the fuck out. But
have you heard this story before, Todd?
Grab pizza before you leave
that's a hilarious detail as well. Yeah. Grabbing the leftover pizza that was left out. That's so funny.
I didn't at first, but after he said it was like 4 a.m. and he like booked out, that's when it kind of started to come back to me, because I do remember him doing that. We were like, dude, I thought you like slept over. Like, where did you go? And he was like, yeah, I got up at like 4 a.m. and like,
dude, I thought we had leftover pizza. Where did it all go?
Yeah.
For us, it was not Paranormal Activity. It was definitely Insidious. That was the one where, like, driving home from the movies the next day, I came in and, like, my 5 friends that we had seen it with, like, everyone had big circles under their eyes. And, like, my friend's mom told us that he, like, turned on all of the lights into his house as well, too, and, like, ran in from his car, basically, as well. Slept with the lights on. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Insidious fucked us up.
Yeah. That's a good point, Nathaniel. Mine is that and like The Conjuring 2013. Right. So like 2 years after that, because I'm a tad bit younger than you are, but that was one where it's like people are definitely driving, and I remember that in real time. And it was like, this movie is scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go home. I don't want to, so it was,
I don't trust home. I don't trust.
I remember that.
It's just the open road for me. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep driving.
Yeah. What was that movie for your demographic? That's got to be something in what, like 20? Well, it's probably
Hereditary. 100% it's Hereditary.
What's Hereditary? 18.
Well, it's tough because like
I guess you would have been 18. So yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I didn't watch a ton of horror movies and like wasn't clued into it, and neither did really my friends. So like it's hard for me to say like, oh, what was that for like me and my friends or my generation, because I wasn't.
You probably didn't catch it in real time. Yeah,
exactly.
Hereditary is probably the solid.
I remember The Conjuring being like everyone talked about The Conjuring in high school and stuff. So I imagine that was definitely one of them because that was 2013, came out when I was 13.
Yeah.
So I remember that being one. Oculus is another one. I remember that being talked about a lot.
Oculus, man.
Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
That movie's actually not too bad, man.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it is. It is. I remember seeing that in real time. I think that's 2013 as well. Maybe 14.
It's around the same time.
Yeah.
2013.
I remember
seeing that freshman year of college.
Yeah, no, I remember like my freshman year of high school. It was like, oh, we're gonna put on a horror movie like Oculus or Conjuring, and like it was like that kind of thing. So those two I think I stick out to me. Hereditary. I mean, I was 18 and like I don't know. Not a ton of horror fans in my high school. I don't remember many people talking about Hereditary like in my high school. I just remember it getting talked about online, but like none of my friends were really talking about it. So,
2007 was a banger for horror movies, dude.
What do we got?
Also,
Paranormal Activity,
The Strangers, right?
That's
Strangers. Disturbia, hilarious.
Okay.
Trick or Treat,
sure.
Yep. Is Rob Zombie's Halloween?
30 Days a Night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 28 Weeks Later.
Sure.
Classic.
Dude, huge horror bangers.
Yeah, great year.
Yeah, we'll have to add the 28 series on there as well, because I know we're doing 28 months later, right? Years later.
Hey, I read a book that was reminded me of 28 Days Later, actually. Called American Rapture.
We'll have to add those. Adam, have you seen either of those?
No.
28 days or weeks?
Hard to find.
Hard to find. Ones I know about, but
He's probably got it.
Well, no, I did see that since they're making, is it now 28 years?
Months.
Yeah. Is it months?
That's what I thought it was, but Ty just said it was years.
I'm pretty sure it's years. I'm pretty sure it's years, isn't it? I could be wrong. Maybe I'm an idiot.
I'm pretty sure it's years. Yeah, 28 years later.
Oh, maybe it is. Okay.
I heard that since they're making this one, they are going to try and make 28 Days more available on streaming.
Sure.
I mean, you would think that was.
I
got both on Vudu.
I was gonna say I think I have the first two on DVD. Like I think I've got like the multi-pack from like 2009. Like
even that's like a gap, dude. 28 Days was 2002. 28 Weeks was 2007, and then this is 2025.
Well, 28 Weeks is like that's the movie right before Jeremy Renner hits big. Because he's like a bit player in that, and then it's like I think it's the same year that Hurt Locker hits, and then like I'm pretty sure he's into Avengers after that.
Yeah, that's a funny thing as well. So we're all big on Green Room, but 28 Weeks Later is a young. It's
true
for those who don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
fuck, I love Green Room.
Yeah,
such a good movie.
But yeah, we'll have to add the 28 series on there, man.
That movie's almost 10 years old. I think it is 2015 that I saw Green Room.
R.P. Antoine Yelchin.
15 or 14, yeah. That sounds right. All right, fellas. Let's move on out of this episode. Thank you all for listening. Please share the podcast. Share with a friend, family member, a twin brother, or I don't know, babysitter. You doing a lot of babysitting these days? Maybe, I don't know. Listen to the podcast and share it, please. While you're doing that, follow us on Twitter at Banter Row, Instagram, Back Row Banter Pod. YouTube is Back Row Banter. In our email, if you want to be like Ryan Foley and send us one of those. We're happy to hear your stories. If you have a personal story related to one of the movies we review, you just want to tell us how awesome we are, or you want to recommend. We haven't really advertised this. We will take recommendations on movies you guys want us to watch. We haven't since, I think, Inception. Was like one of the only ones I can remember off the top of my head. I don't know how many more we've done off recommendation other than like, just talking to somebody and it's like, oh, they want me to watch a movie and I watch it and then I recommend it to you guys or something like that. But yeah, no, we're happy to take recommendations. If you guys have a movie that we have not reviewed and you want us to talk about it, absolutely send it in. Send us an email. Let us know that you want to watch it. It's a very real thing that can happen. So yeah, do that. I think that's done with the show plugs. I'll go first this week and let someone else close it out. But you can find me on Twitter at H24, on Letterboxd at H, and Blue Sky. I'm also H. That's all AYYSH. In case you needed to know how to spell it, it's also in the episode description. That too. Mr. Gingrich, where can the people find your book reviews at, my man?
Yeah, you can find my book reviews on Instagram.
Well, I guess is that a private Instagram you got over there?
No,
Do you
it's
not
not.
plug
It's
that? You don't usually plug that,
G92 on Instagram or at @Gingrich. I can't remember which is which. You can find me on Goodreads. I'm out there.
Oh, there you
go. You can always find me on Twitter and Letterboxd and Blue Sky at @Gingrich. Tyler, where can the people find you at, sir?
You can find me on Instagram, Letterboxd, and X, all Tyler Dallas. You can also find me on Goodreads. I got a couple of books on there and a couple other ones that I want to read, and I did review, put a little snippet on there for Mickey 7. Yeah, that'll make me want to be more active on Letterboxd, but who knows? One thing at a time. I can read books. But yeah, other than that, that's it for me. Blake, you're last. Your tag, you're it, bud.
Yes, sir. Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. Be on there to log some things, rate them out of 5 stars. I believe I had a little review key. PSN, Mr. Watercoolers, Xbox, Mr. Watercoolers. I don't have a Goodreads. Goodreads with an S, I believe. Reads. Thank you. I know my partner does. So, and she's been getting me into book reading, as they say. So we'll see if I pop up on one of those.
She reading the Onyx Storm Fourth Wing
Dragon porn?
series. Yeah.
Dragon porn?
Horny dragon books?
Dragon corn smut?
I don't believe so. No, I'll ask her. That can be my
matter of
suggestion
time
for what we get into.
Yeah, just be like, I heard there's like dragon smut. What's that about? And if she knows, she knows.
All right, for sure. I'll ask her. But yeah, so if I get one of those, we'll account pub for it here. Outside of that, we appreciate you listening. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the listenership. And we'll BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Yeah, we should talk about movies or something, guys.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm on vacation, so I've been content storming.
Are you?
Shit. Yeah, yeah, man.
I saw your book review today. I was very impressed.
Thank you,
Sounds
sir.
like a good book.
It's a good one. I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
I got another one fresh for tomorrow.
You said I was gonna say you said you had more
I got
on
like
the way.
2 or 3.
You got a backlog.
Yeah, I got a 2 or 3 backed up here.
Although I gotta talk to you. We gotta be more inventive with the photos of these covers, man. You gotta put it on, your balcony ledge and like get the sunset in the background, frame it just right, like something. I can't just put on the bed and take a photo of it.
Yes, you can.
So that one actually was on a blanket today, so it was different.
Well, all right.
Yeah, no, I have thought about that, but then it's also like whatever, man. Like
no, for sure.
I could also like triple its outreach by like putting actual hashtag and just like calling it Bookstagram and some shit. And it's like at a certain point, do I really want to do this? Like how
start recording
seriously?
Yourself and put it on TikTok. Book Talk is bringing back Barnes and Nobles. Nathaniel, have you heard?
I know, and yes, I could go on Barnes and Noble, and I could be the cute horror boy, and I'd do great.
I like that. You found your niche already, man. What are you waiting for?
Not to
Nathaniel,
sell
you
my
have your
soul
ticket to Elysium. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting to not have to sit in front of a screen and care about my skincare and what people think I'm gonna say about a book.
Thanks.
No, I've been actually having a great time reading.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. I think I'm ruining I'm giving myself this year to read a lot of horror books, but then after that I'm gonna have to come out of the genre a little bit and read some other stuff as well too. But I'm enjoying it as like a kind of just getting the groundwork in and just, feeling out where everything is. I think it's an exciting time for the genre. I think people in particular are kind of pivoting towards it again. I think it's having a little bit of a resurgence, particularly literarily. That's not a word. But yeah, I'm having a great time reading a book called Boys in the Valley right now, which is your classic turn of the century, the 19th century, that is, boys orphanage, where they like a possessed man shows up on one of the nights and then he is subsequently killed, and all the demons go into some of the other boys, and so then they kind of get possessed. It's kind of like a mixture of like Lord of the Flies, The Exorcist. It's real good so far, or a little bit of Devil's Backbone in there as well too. Last week, did I tell you guys about the Sasquatch one?
You did, yeah.
Yeah,
that one was real good as well too. I just finished another one that was more of a thriller. Was more kind of like a guy who's a UPS driver. His daughter is getting married to like the son of one of those like tech billionaire companies, and he just gets weird vibes from the whole family. And there might have been a girl that disappeared beforehand, so he's trying to figure out what the whole mystery is there. And that was decent as well too. But yeah.
Cool, man. I've been enjoying Dune 4.
Tyler's been reading. Tyler got a Goodreads.
Okay.
I sure have been. Yeah, I finished Mickey 7, and then I started The Shadow of the Gods, which is one that I got from a good friend of mine who's into books.
Back Row Banter.
So, which is more...
Also...
I've got a book recommendation for you, Ty.
Is it Dune?
Maybe.
I can't wait until you read something else. You just like expand your horizon.
I'm still trying to make my goals obtainable. Shadow of the Gods would be the biggest one so far. I think it's right around like 500.
How is it? Are you like 20 pages in or so? Is it like...
Yeah,
I know nothing about it.
I think
to
I'm
be
like
honest with
2.
you.
Yeah, I think I finished chapter 2 a couple days ago. So and then we had the nephews over Saturday night into Sunday morning. So we kind of had our hands full with a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. But yeah, I definitely, if we were gonna, start pod on time like we're notoriously known for, I was gonna probably go upstairs and catch a couple of chapters. But by the time we're done here, I doubt I'll be in that same mindset now.
Sorry, man.
But no, you guys are good.
That's fair, bro. Totally understand.
Yeah. It's kind of like, what I was saying earlier, it's not like we get to, talk every day, for a couple hours at work or in passing anymore. We genuinely do get to talk to each other, like once a week. So a lot of it is kind of like catching up and, life shit, and just kind of everybody's mental wellness is good. And then it's like, oh, fuck, it's been an hour. Like, what the fuck did we do? So,
no, that was a fast hour. I'm not going to lie. But
it happens a lot here. But,
that's a good thing.
I'd rather, you guys know me, I'll take human interaction pretty much over anything. So I will always take, a good conversation with the boys over a couple of chapters in a book.
I don't know if Nathaniel would agree with you, but
it depends on the
maybe,
day.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe not, a couple hours with you, but with me, we're cool.
Damn, all right. For sure.
No, Adam, I think is in the last maybe 6 months or so is probably the person that's watched the most like fighting with me as well too. So he's been showing up for fight nights.
We love that.